What is going on, guys? It is your boy Kazak here, and today's video is going to be a little bit different than usual. In this video, I am going to be showing a little bit of my weep side today. Okay, this is this is for all my anime fans out there who feel the same way or can at least resonate with what I'm saying on this video. And the main point I wanted to talk about here is the stagnation of anime games. I've been going through like the list of anime games that have come out in recent years and stuff, and I kind of just came to the conclusion that, like, bro, modern anime games are so trash now. They suck. It's so crazy to me, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like, whenever there's like a super popular anime franchise out there like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Attack on Titan or whatever, like, super popular anime out there, especially if it's shonen, these companies are incredibly lazy when it comes to the games. And like, how many times whenever there's like a super popular shonen like Jujutsu Kaisen, you can best believe there's going to be an arena fighter, and that arena fighter came out, and oh man, that game was so bad. It was really, really trash. And then let's not forget the absolute tragedy that was Jump Force. Good God, like, that game was so awful. It had a nasty art style. The character roster made no sense at all, and like, the gameplay was the thing that gets me about that game is that the gameplay was so cool and it was fun, but the rest of the game was absolute dog shit, bro. Like, it really was. That game was so bad that, like, I just don't understand how they could fumble an idea so simple by going into like this realism kind of art style, which did not work for an anime. I think that is the dumbest thing you could ever do when it comes to making an anime game. Is like, okay, how do we make like a cool crossover Jump Force kind of game with all these cool anime characters that have like exaggerated movements and attacks and all that stuff? You know what would be the best environment to put them in? Let's put them in a semi-realistic kind of environment and see how that turns out. And it was absolutely horrendous. I mean, good God. Like, when I look at that game now, I'm like, who thought this was a good idea? I'm just like, somebody in the development team had to look at the graphics and be like, are y'all sure about this? I don't think this is it, y'all. Like, can we at least stylize this a little bit? Can we add like a little bit of cell shading? Like, look at games like Guilty Gear. Again, I will always praise Guilty Gear for this. Guilty Gear looks incredible as a video game. Like, that game looks so freaking good. It literally looks like an anime a lot of times. Like, you'll look at Strive and it's just like, you see all the details. They got the character expressions. They got exaggerated movements. It's like, yo, it's like I'm playing an actual anime on screen right now. It's so crazy. But for some reason, Bandai Namco saw games like this and they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick to putting all these characters in this weird realism kind of world with real people and cars. And it just made the game look freaking ugly, bro. It really did. Like, Jump Force was an absolute mess of a game that had great ideas. The problem is that they did a lot of stupid stuff with that game that just made it so unappealing. Ugly graphics, the character roster was a mess. Even the DLC was also pretty stupid too. Like, they added in so many like highly requested characters that should have just been in the game from the beginning. But of course, because we're in the anime world, and because anime is super popular in today's world, we got to find a way to profit off of fans, and we got to make people want these characters, and we're gonna make them spend money for these characters. Man, I remember back in the day when, after a very, very long day at school, hanging out with friends and doing all the boring assignments and all that bull crap, the first thing I did when I got back home? I would go into my room and I would grab my copy of Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and I would just play it all day long. I mean, I spent so much time just trying to unlock all the characters, getting all like the skill capsules, doing the different story modes for each of the different sagas in the game. You know, you had the Frieza saga, you had Android saga, yeah, Majin Buu, Dragon Ball GT in there too, and it was such a fun time playing through that game because it just had so much things to do in there. You could experience the story mode, you could unlock different characters as you was playing through it. You could also play through the versus mode where you can do team battles or play multiplayer with your friends. And when I mean multiplayer, I mean versus mode. And you know, you had survival mode. You had so much content in that game, where to the point where like I could play that game all day long, and I could have so much endless fun with it. And compare that with say Sparking Zero, where don't get me wrong, I still like to pop on Sparking Zero every now and then just to have a couple of casual fun and play with my favorite characters and all that stuff. I don't go online because everybody online, the online game when it comes to Sparking Zero is not fun at all. Let me tell y'all right now, if you're trying to play this game online, play this with your friends. Don't play it with random people online because it is so bad. Let me tell you, it really is that bad. But no, I compare this to Tenkaichi 3, and I'm like, it's so baffling to me how this game from 10 plus years ago on the PlayStation 2 still feels like the superior game compared to the modern one where it costs $70 plus. It has better looking visuals. We have better technology, and yet it still feels janky. It feels a little bit clunky in some areas, and it lacks the same level of passion that this older game had back in the day. It's really interesting to me, and I'm not saying all this just to dog on the game. Again, I would have not spent the $70 if I truly hated this game, nor would I still be keeping the game if I had not liked it. I'm just saying that in terms of quality and what we got before compared to now, it's almost like night and day, man. And I think a lot of that also has to do with the DLC practices and the overall monetization of anime games nowadays being a higher priority instead of the games actually being fun for the fans to enjoy. Nowadays, it's just all about being corporate and milking as much money from fans as humanly possible, which is, I think, is pretty freaking lame. And we see this even with Naruto Ninja Storm Connections, which for some reason I didn't bring that game up in my Bandai video, and I think that was just because I just sort of forgot about it. But no, that game, when I revisit that game, oh my god, it was the definition of cash grab. The story mode, complete garbage. It was basically like a slideshow of like all the story and everything from the beginning to the end, and it was just completely garbage. I know a lot of people hyped up the character customization in that game, but the character customization was not that good. It ain't no Tekken, I'll tell you that much. It's nothing like that. It was pretty bare bones and very basic. And the gameplay just felt not as good as Storm 4 in my opinion. And again, I personally love Storm 4 a lot because it felt like the complete perfect package of a Naruto game. You had an amazing combat system. You had a pretty good story mode, which, yeah, you can tell they cut some corners here and there, but that was primarily because of like a lot of the development issues that was going on around the time. And it didn't stop it from being an incredibly fun game, both casually and, well, not really competitively, because I don't play Naruto games competitively, obviously. But in terms of like being a Naruto fan and experiencing the game for what it is, it was incredible. I mean, this game did so much good, and in my opinion, the story was almost kind of more fun to play through than watching like the actual anime at some point. It was getting to that point where, oh my god, they did such a phenomenal job with this game. It's unbelievable. And then you go to Connections, and it's just like, okay, so they changed up the combat system. Okay, there's new characters. Well, in reality, there's only like 10 new characters. and the rest of them are literally just the same characters but with a different outfit. That's pretty much it. I mean, they literally took all the characters from Shippuden and then just said, okay, they count as different characters now, even though they have no differences in their skills or movesets or anything like that. Absolutely nothing. And again, it's not like having repeat characters is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they have multiple Narutos for a reason, but that reason was because each Naruto played differently. You couldn't, like, part one Naruto doesn't play the same as like Naruto in his like six Sage Path mode or whatever. They're two completely different characters. And yeah, like Connections just felt like a game that had no passion put into it. It just felt like, okay, the companies want us to put out a new Naruto game. We got to find a way to put one out, and this is the result that we got. And they priced it for like $60. And they had so many different like versions of this game. You had like the deluxe edition, you had the collector's edition, and then you even had like a premium edition or whatever. I mean, it was so clear that this game just existed to fill up a certain agenda that the company had, which was, let's milk more of our anime games. To be honest with you guys, the only anime game in terms of like modern anime games that I really enjoyed that wasn't a Dragon Ball or a Naruto game was Attack on Titan 2. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what this game is, Attack on Titan 2 was kind of like basically made by Koei Tecmo, and it was this fun, cool game where you basically took on a role of your own custom created character, and you got to experience all the story events from Attack on Titan, all the way from like season 1 to the end of season 3, I think. And you got to interact with all the characters. You got to fight titans and upgrade your weapon and stuff like that, and interact with the characters. And even for like certain side characters that didn't get that much screen time with, you actually get to learn a little bit more about them in the game that you don't even see that even in the anime or the manga, which I thought was a really cool thing to add into the game, because it's like, oh wow, these make these characters feel more relatable, and I get to appreciate them a lot more than I could in the story, because the story had to focus on certain characters, and a lot of the side characters obviously were just side characters. They weren't really that big of a focus. But in this game, they took the time to flesh them out a little bit. I thought, okay, that was pretty cool. And this game was the only one, in my opinion, as far as anime games goes, that had a good amount of innovation to it. There was clearly a lot of passion put into it as well. And you could even play co-op. So you can play up to like 4 players with your friends, I think. And you all could basically be part of the Survey Corp and slay titans and stuff with each other. It was such an awesome game. And I'm probably going to do a review on it at some point. But gosh, when I think about that game, I clocked in so many hours into it because it was just that good. And if you guys are an Attack on Titan fan by any chance, you definitely need to check that game out. I'm pretty sure it's on like PlayStation 4, Switch, PC. I don't know if it's on Xbox. I'm pretty sure it might be on Xbox. I mean, if you're an AOT fan in general and you want like a good game based off of the franchise, Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle, you need to play this freaking game. It is awesome. I love it. But yeah, outside of that, there is no anime games that are on the same level as like an Attack on Titan. I mean, just imagine a Naruto game that's completely next gen, and it had free roam. It's basically Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but instead of it being Dragon Ball related, it's Naruto. And you can call it like Naruto Uzumaki or Naruto Shippuden Uzumaki, whatever super title you want to give it, and make it a completely open world Naruto game where you can explore the Leaf Village, the Sand Village, the Hidden Mist Village, and you get to play as different characters like Sasuke or Kakashi or Sakura and experience their stories from different perspectives, or even retell the story all the way from part 1 all the way to the very end of the story, or make it a filler story. I mean, it's not like Naruto games haven't done that before, where they had completely original stories centered around various different things. You could easily do that with a next-gen Naruto game if you don't want to go the whole retelling the story route. You can make something really unique and interesting, kind of similar to the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games back on the PS2 that kind of had that similar idea where you had a free roam, you could play as Naruto, run around the village, collect items, collect scrolls, do all that cool stuff, interact with people, you know, all the good stuff that you would expect from a fun dream anime game. But unfortunately, it's kind of unlikely that we would ever see that nowadays because these companies don't care about that. They just want to make their bag and move on with their life. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get on here a little bit because it was on my mind, and I was like, this would make for a fun little video to talk about. Get my thoughts about some anime related content while still keeping it relevant to gaming. So yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you guys agree with me or do you disagree with me on this one? I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say on this one. With that said, this was your boy Kazak, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace. Since we're talking about like anime games and stuff, I figure I'll just talk about Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. I don't know how many of y'all Dragon Ball fans played this one, but this game, I'm not gonna lie, this game is a little bit of a guilty pleasure for me because it's so dang trash, but it is probably the most funniest game I've ever played. The gameplay is ass. The story mode is non-existent, and the characters sound nothing like their English voice actors that you know in the shows and stuff. Like the quotes that they have too is so funny. Like, "Oh, you seem happy," or like, what was that one by Super Saiyan 4 Goku where he's like, "Oh, at first you were strong, but you weren't such a big deal." I'm gonna stop this, man. I just thought about that. I was just like, I should include this in the video somewhere, bro.